Alright guys, I haven't actually made a video in a little while. I've popped up some little snippets here and there, but I haven't actually made a video in a while. The last couple of weeks or so, things have been absolutely crazy around here. And being a one-man show, I haven't even had time to breathe lately. It's just been so wide open and quite frankly, it's been a little stressful around here. So I wanted to give everybody some updates. It's about 9 o'clock at night on a Wednesday night, and things are starting to wind down a little bit. I'm gonna take a few minutes to give everybody an update on where we are with the budget bill. I know some of you guys were excited about that and wanted to follow along with that, and I've kind of dropped the ball on videos with it because I've been doing some other stuff. So this is the engine for Waylon. If you're just tuning in, you can go back and watch. Waylon is our 1963 F100. We entered a $3,000 budget build challenge, $3,000 all in. And yes, I know this looks like a lot of motor, but we don't have a lot of money in it. We'll go over the budget in just a little bit, but this is the motor for Waylon. It is 398 cubic inches. Ford FE, of course, because you know me, everything's got to be FE powered, but it's 398 cubic inches. We have some old flat top pistons in it. We have some heads. The heads here are just 63 date coated heads. This whole engine is pretty period correct to what could have been in the truck. It's got a correct dated 63 timing chain cover, correct 63 heads, everything. So these are just some C3 heads that I hand ported, done a valve job and everything right here in-house. So done some work on these heads. This intake is an intake that I picked up on Marketplace, 300 bucks. You know, a lot of people don't like them because you have to run the Edelbrock carburetors with them, but that's fine. I mean, for what we're doing, it's not really that big of a deal. These are some actual 63 or 60, 62 or 63 valve covers that were powder coated. These were actually given to me by a friend. So it's not anything crazy over the top. This is a knockoff of an MSD distributor. It's not a real MSD distributor. It's nothing crazy, but it should make decent horsepower. It's gonna be a fairly quick little truck for just a street cruiser. Now I know all that's just theory and math in the head, doesn't necessarily mean anything, but let's take a look at what we've got here. Again, it's just a basic FE. The engine color, I wanted something, I've had some questions about it. I wanted something that looked kind of correct, but it wasn't the typical colors. Actually, one guy asked me if it was Pontiac blue. No, it is not Pontiac blue. I have an engine over there, it's Pontiac. Actually, this is Pontiac blue, and you can see that it's not quite the same color. This right here is actually called titanium silver. Don't know where they came up with that at, because it's obviously a blue color, but I wanted something that's a little different, so we went with this color just to make it stand out a little bit. I have put the old 2-groove pulleys on it. I done that because I have my alternator over here, but later down the road at some point in time, thinking I may want to add AC to the truck. I already have the pulley set up for it, so if I want to add AC later, I can put the AC compressor on this side. There's already pulleys set up for it. So trying to think ahead into the future a little bit. But all in all, it's a very basic engine. It's not crazy, it's not over the top. I kind of use this as an excuse to use some parts that had some meaning to me and that I wanted to use. There's a bunch of little details in the engine that are, let's say, parts and pieces from friends and family and stuff that are some of them are no longer with us now, so this gives me an excuse to use all those parts in one place. So there's been a bunch of people that have helped me out along the way with this, and you know, I couldn't have done what I've done without them. So the engine is complete. My goal is to set this engine in the truck tomorrow. Mainly just to set it in there, just to see where everything's got to be moved around and mocked around. I gotta find, this will take me about 30 minutes, and I need to find 30-minute window tomorrow that I can just set this in here and do some measurements and all, and figure out if it's gonna live in the space that I have for it. So hopefully tomorrow I can get about 30 minutes to do that, and I'll make a little bit of video for that for y'all to see. Now, let's look at our budget and look at what we've got left and what I'm gonna have to do, because I kinda splurged a little bit on the eye candy for when you raise up the hood. So let's look at the budget. So I know this is gonna be kind of hard to see on camera, but we'll go through a lot of it. When we started out, it was a $3,000 budget, but we were allowed to use $1,000 in pre-owned parts, and $500 worth of donated parts is what we're allowed to use. So here's the rundown of where we are right now. Since we just went through a motor and kind of rebuilt it, we didn't really spend a lot of money there, but we bought some we had to buy some bearings, timing chain. We bought those things. A gasket set, we bought those things. Things we had laying around here was we had the pistons laying around here, and we talked about those in an earlier video. We went over all this stuff. We had some pistons laying around here. We used the cam that we already had laying around here. The intake, as I mentioned, I did buy the intake on Marketplace, but I bought the intake like October of last year. I bought it because honestly it was dirt cheap and it was on Marketplace and didn't even really have anything to do with it. It was just going to sit on the shelf. So now this project gives me an excuse to use that intake. So I did claim it in the donated parts. You know, we had rods that were given to us. We had I can't read my own writing. Actually, I'm gonna gain some money back from there, and I'll go over it in just a minute. But we had an oil pan laying around here. One of the things I put here in donated parts was I actually put down the C6 transmission, and it needed to be rebuilt. So it was given to me, so I put it down in donated parts as what I see cores going for on Marketplace, which is $200. I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to gain that $200 back. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to gain that $200 back. Because I'm going to need that $200. So where are we right now? Well, right now we have $1,088 of hard cash left that we can spend. I have $350 left in my pre-owned bucket, and I have $300 now in my donated parts. Now, let's go back and address the transmission. So the reason I took that $200 back off on that transmission is because I've checked into buying the parts and all to rebuild it. And yes, there is the money in the budget that if I rebuild it myself, honestly, I got quotes of about $900 to rebuild a C6 transmission. So there's technically enough money in the budget to build the C6. But I have to think big picture overall. And I am going to be straight up and claim every penny of this thing. I still have, the truck has no brake lines on it at all. So I still got to do a braking system. The truck has no fuel system on it at all. So I still got to do a fuel tank of some kind, fuel lines of some kind. There's going to be some wiring that has to be taken care of. I've got to do some exhaust work. I'll do it myself, but I got to buy the pipe. I've got to, buy the bends and all that stuff to build the exhaust with. What I'm saying is, even though technically there's $1,000 in money I can still spend and $350 left in the pre-owned parts and $300 in the donated parts, there's not much pre-owned parts that I already owned around here that are left that is going to do me any good. I don't really have anything left that I can do any of the other stuff with. So that budget's pretty much what it is. So I have $300 in donated parts, and I have $1,088 in cash that I can let spend to cover everything. So here's what I'm gonna do. That truck was originally a 3-speed on the column, and that's what was still in the truck. So I'm gonna use the transmission that's already in the truck. We already claimed what we paid for the truck. That was part of the deal. So it doesn't cost me anything to use it. So I'm gonna put this truck together with the 3-speed on the column. Go through and finish everything else out so the truck is done, it drives up and down the road. Then back up and look at my budget again. If at that time there is enough money for me to actually physically buy the parts to possibly rebuild this C6 myself, even though I've never attempted that before, if there is enough money in the budget to buy the parts, then I may go back and do the C6 and pull the 3-speed back out. But as of right now, we're going to go that route. And we're going to go that route just because of the budget and this budget build challenge. Again, this is about showing you the blueprint. If you go back and watch the videos throughout, this is about showing you how you can build a vehicle on a real budget, on a small budget. At the end of the day, the pre-owned parts that I've used there and the donated parts that I've used there, I've only used about $200 of the donated parts, and I've only used about half of the budget on the pre-owned parts that I have around here. So at the end of the day, right now, if you actually spent hard cash on every one of these parts, there was no pre-owned budget and there was no donated budget. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, so 7. I can't do the math as quick in my head. You kind of put me on the spot. You'd still only be like $2,700 in this entire build. You'd still be less than a $3,000 budget in the entire build if you went and bought every nut and bolt right now. There's not a lot of money tied up in this thing yet, but it's going to look over the top. It's not about how much you spend, it's about where you spend the money. A lot of people think you have to spend big money, but it's not about spending big money. It's about taking the little bit you have and putting it in the right places. You also kind of have to swallow your pride a little bit. Instead of saying, I want this exact part, you kind of have to go, I need something that will work right here and not this exact part. And it opens you up to be able to shop around, find bargains and stuff. So the truck itself, Waylon has not moved since we stuck the steel wheels back on it that we painted. I'll just put in a photo of the truck. So the truck itself hasn't changed very much. So tomorrow, hopefully, again, if I can get about 30 minutes of time to myself tomorrow, hopefully we will be able to set the engine. I'm going to bolt the 3-speed to the back of the engine, and hopefully we'll be able to set the engine over into the truck. I just want to see if the frame mounts, the motor mounts are all going to kind of line up the way they should. Well, of course they'll line up the way they should, but that's not what I'm trying to say. That the height of the way the motor mount, make sure the hood is shut. I need to make sure that I really haven't gone to the point where I'm stuffing 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. I need to make sure that all this stuff, you know how you get the tents, any campers out there, you know how you get the tents and you take them out of a little bag and you set them up and you sleep in them the next morning, you take the tent down, but you can't get it back into the bag? It came out of it. It should go back into it. But sometimes it doesn't. I'm hoping we don't have that problem. So hopefully tomorrow the engine will be set in the truck. Waylon will have a motor sitting physically in the engine bay, and then the truck can move back out, shut the hood, and basically the engine has been moved into a storage spot there while I work on this other stuff and get caught up on some other things. None of that happens tomorrow. All that happens tomorrow, hopefully, is the engine actually sits in the truck. So right now, all I'm gonna do is get the carburetors set back off of it, and I'm gonna put an engine plate on top of it that I've got laying here somewhere. And once I put the engine plate on top of it, then I will be ready to get it off the engine stand first thing in the morning, if I can get out here early enough before the day gets started. Oh, there you go. I got it rigged up, ready to hook the engine hoist in the morning to sit over in the truck. I'm going to put the oil galley plugs in once I pull it off here, and I may go ahead and stick the flywheel on it. I'm not sure yet. When I tell y'all I'm tired, I'm tired. I mean, I really am. It's late in the evening, and I pretty much do this from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. So I need a break. I need a vacation. I need to get away from this stuff for a couple of days, but that ain't gonna happen no time soon. I should be able to get an early enough start where I can set this over in the truck real quick and just make sure everything fits, the hood closes and does all that stuff. And then this can go out of the way for a little while till I get some other stuff done. There's other stuff that just has to get done, and well, let's face it, everything needs to get done, and I'm just struggling finding enough time to do it all. Remember, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we are giving away an engine. We're gonna build it here on the channel and give it away. Hopefully by then, I am completely caught up, and it will be no problem to get that knocked out. I've got another 390 sitting right there that hopefully I will finish up the first of the week. One of the projects that I've been working on that's been taking up some time is going to go somewhere else, and somebody else is going to burn some of their time on it a little bit and see if they can figure out some things that I can't. And while it's gone, I'm going to finish up that 390 and get it to its new home. I know the customer is anxiously awaiting it and excited to get it, so I need to get that thing done and get it on the road and get it to its new home, and that needs to happen quickly. So probably Monday or Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, I will try to get that knocked out and ready to go to its new home. It's been a week, folks. It's been a week. So please, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It helps me. Not even going to sugarcoat it. It helps me. And when it helps me, then I can help y'all out with more videos and stuff. Again, this was mainly about updating you on our budget build. We are staying right on budget with it. This is kind of the blueprint to how to build a down and dirty cheap hot rod. And yes, there's things that is done on this build that is probably not what you would ultimately want to do. But here's the great thing about it. You build one on a budget like this and drive it. As you drive it, you can upgrade those things. For instance, as we were talking about the transmission, to keep on the budget, I'm gonna stick the 3-speed back on the back of it, get the truck up and running and drive it. Okay, so now you're driving your hot rod, you've got it done, but you know the transmission is not exactly what you want. You're able to put some money back while you drive your hot rod, swap out the transmission. So This is the basic blueprint to have an affordable hot rod. It is not an instant hot rod. It is not an instant thing that, you know, it's just there it is and we're going to be there. It's one of those things where it's you kind of have to do it in stages if you want to do it on a budget. You kind of have to do what you can do, put it together, run it, the things that you want the most happy with, but you had to do because of your budget. Come back and catch that, drive it a little while, find a few things you want to do, come back and catch those. So it's an ever evolving hot rod. That's where a lot of the old timers say they're never done. They're never done because they never had the budget to build them the way they wanted in the first place. So they had to keep circling back around to it. This is going to be no different. I spent the money to get this the way I wanted it. So now everything else can come along a little at a time. So hope y'all enjoy the series. I'm going to go in the house and get some rest. I don't even know what time it is now, probably 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I'm going to go in and get some rest, maybe find me a sandwich. And again, if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer every day. Share these videos if you like them. And there's going to be a lot more FE content coming. There's going to be a lot more on Waylon coming. And hopefully, sometime in the next week or so, the Pistons will be here for Legacy, and we'll be able to get the motor started for the Galaxy, and that's going to be a monster that I know a lot of you are waiting for. That's going to be, we're shooting for, well, I'm not going to tell you the number, but I'm just going to say it's going to be probably the biggest horsepower FE that has ever been built right here. So y'all stay tuned. God bless y'all. I hope the Lord blesses you every day of your life, and we'll see y'all guys next time. I'm going in the house to get some rest, so y'all enjoy.